Hey everybody, welcome to Bestie Book Reviews. I'm here with my bestie Mandy.
And I'm here with my bestie Jessica.
So today's video is all about Surprise Baby. Not to be confused with Secret Baby because they're two different things. So this is where our hero and heroine find out that they're pregnant, and the majority of the book revolves around that pregnancy. So let's do this. But before we get started,
make sure you hit that subscribe button. We know you're watching, so subscribe so you can win these books. When we reach 1,000 subscribers, we're going to give away those books by Karen Crumpton to one lucky subscriber. So make sure you're eligible for that by hitting that subscribe button. You can also follow us on Instagram for an extra entry. Everything is linked below. And comment below. Do you like Surprise Baby? Is this the trope for you? What books do you really enjoy out of this trope? Like, tell us below. It's not really my favorite trope, so if there's one I should be reading, tell me below.
yeah,
All right,
I like
let's get started.
All right, let's do this.
Hey, Jessica, surprise us with your Surprise Baby.
Okay, I'll do my best for you. So the first book that I have is Chasing Her Fire by Claire Kingsley. This is number 5 in her Bailey Brothers series, but this is like the only book I read in this series. I've heard that you need to read them all in order, but I did not feel like that with this one. So, So this is about Logan. He's a firefighter, and then you have Cora, I can't tell. I think it's Kara. And she is, for all intents and purposes, she's like a socialite. Like, she doesn't have to work. She has money. She buys what she wants. She does what she wants. And she is living the high life, the life that the majority of us do not get to live. And because of that, she and Logan don't get along. Like, he doesn't like her because of who she is and where she comes from. But they do have that hate, like I hate you so much, let's go screw type chemistry. So they end up having a one night stand when they're drunk one night, and that of course leads to a baby. And so in order to make sure things are ready for baby, and in order to try to get along, they move in together to try to make this work. Now, Logan is a firefighter. He's got a family backing him. But Kara doesn't have all of that. So we get to see how that works out for them. I really liked this one. I liked seeing the way they work things out. So it was good. I liked that he was a firefighter. That's a whole nother video though. Okay, what do you have?
Okay, my first recommendation is A Chance Encounter by Nikki Ash. This is about Sophia and Easton. Sophia, when she is 18, finds out that her boyfriend, who she just found out she's pregnant by, has a fiance, and he lets her know this, and rather, like, when she confronts him about it, he's really rude, and he's just a dick to her about it. So she ends up packing up, moving across the country, has the baby with and lives with her cousin, who's like one of her best friends, and she just really has a good support system with her cousin who helps her. So now we're going to fast forward to, I think her daughter is 5 or 7, and she has not had like relationships or anything like that. Her focus has just been going to school to become a lawyer and taking care of her daughter. And she's in the park one day, and there's a lady doing photography, and she convinces the two of them to it's the two of them. I'm so sorry. Easton is in the park, kind of minding his own business on this park bench, and this photography lady convinces the two of them to do some photos for her for this piece that she writes for a magazine. They end up realizing that they are really attracted to each other, and they go have an afternoon stand. This is totally out of character for Sophia, but she just does it. She sneaks off on him and then later finds out she's pregnant. Now, I know what you're thinking, like, oh my gosh, she already had like one baby. Like, this is so stupid. It's not written like that. It's written really, really well. She even addresses that she must like have some like crazy super fertility issues happening. Anyway, so she is desperate to figure out, like, to get a hold of whoever the father is. And she finds out he's actually uber famous and in a band. And he wants to be in the baby's life and in her life. And this is the story of them figuring out how does that work.
Okay.
It was really good.
Okay. So my next one is somewhat popular, not as popular as one that I know you have on here, but it's fairly popular. And that's One Moment Please by Amy Dawes. I loved this book when I read it. So this is about Lindsay and Josh. So Lindsay and Josh meet one night. They end up taking a cab together. Like, things transpire. They end up taking a cab together to go home. And instead of going to their respective houses, they end up in a bed together. And then a few months pass, or a few weeks pass, and Lindsay is still trying to date. She still hasn't found, anybody that she likes. And so she goes out on what the back of the book refers to as the Tinder date from hell. And that's pretty much what it was. And she ends up in the emergency room after this happens. And lo and behold, the doctor who comes in to treat her is Josh, her one night stand from a few weeks prior. Oh, and by the way, her blood work shows that she's pregnant. And he's the last person that she slept with. So there you go.
Dun, dun, dun. I muted myself. I was coughing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I figured as much when I couldn't hear you. So,
all right.
Did love this one.
Okay, my next one is probably my favorite that I have on this list, and it's The Devil Gets His Due by Elizabeth O'Rourke. We have Keely and Graham. Keely is a very flighty character. She is just living her life. She doesn't save money. She just does what she wants to do because she believes that she is cursed and is going to die very young, like in her early 30s. And she so heartedly believes this, that this is like basically the philosophy she's living her life by. Graham is kind of the opposite of her. He's very serious. He is a little bit grumpier, kind of that grumpy sunshine trope too happening here. And he is really annoyed with Keely's antics. And they are planning their his brother and her best friend are getting married. So they're kind of thrown together in all this wedding planning stuff. And they end up getting drunk and sleeping together, and Keely ends up pregnant. And she doesn't know how to tell Graham this because she's terrified that Graham is going to use her flightiness and stuff like that against her and take the kid from her. And she is very nervous about this. But Graham eventually finds out, and the two of them, he is like, I'm not going to be shut out of this baby's life. I'm moving in with you. And I'm going to be here from the beginning because that way I'm going to be a part of this kid's life. And so this is the two of them who are completely different people understanding how this is all going to work. Oh, and by the way, they also, when they were drunk, got married, and they're still married to each other.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's so good. Loved it.
Yeah. I have to say though, not that I'm a drinker ever, but I have never been in a situation where I can't remember what I did when I was drinking. Could you imagine getting that drunk? Could you imagine the hangover that comes with
Well,
the
I think some people would say you just weren't having enough fun, Jessica.
You know what? The guys I used to hang out with, I'm glad I never had that kind of fun. So, yeah. Okay. All right. So my next book is a little different. So this is The Unwanted Wife by Natasha Anders. So this is about Sandro and Teresa. So they were, it was a business deal. Their marriage was a business deal arranged by their families, and they've been married for, I think it's like 1 or 2 years, like 2 years. They've, every time they have sex, Sandro ends it by saying, "Give me a son, Teresa." And she has been in love with Sandro. Like, she loves him. They had a good relationship to start, and she's fallen in love with him. But it kills her every time he says this. Now, they've had a miscarriage. They've lost a baby in the beginning, so definitely check triggers for that kind of stuff. But she finally gets the strength to leave him. She decides she's going to leave. And when she does, that's when she finds out she's pregnant. And then he finds out, and he won't let her leave, and he wants to fix the marriage. But she's been hurt so much by him that she can't ever see this working out. And so this is very emotional. It's very angsty. I absolutely loved it. It is told in third person, which at first threw me off when I tried to listen to it a couple years ago, and then I listened to it this last year and I loved it. So just know that it is told in third person, but I listened to the audio and it worked. It was so friggin' good. It was just good. And it's the secret baby trope done right, or the surprise baby trope done right. So
Okay. What?
I said, okay.
Okay.
I mouthed, okay.
Okay. Ready for my next book?
I can see your next book.
Okay. So my next book is a popular one, but it's a good one. So this is part of the Off-Campus series by L. Kennedy. This is The Goal. I think this is book number 4. And this is Sabrina and Tucker. We see Tucker throughout the other books, and he surprises us at the end of the book before this, where he announces that he got Sabrina pregnant. And this is a shocker to everybody because Sabrina is kind of uptight, and everybody's like, what? Why was he with her? So what ends up happening is Sabrina she just has a horrible, horrible life, home life, like growing up. And she grew up really poor, treated horribly. And so she has learned that the only person she can really count on is herself. And she is determined to put herself through school and then go to law school and become a lawyer. And this is her plan, this is her focus, and she doesn't want any distractions. So when she finds out she's pregnant, she's pretty devastated, but again, she's like, I'm not going. She has misplaced pride and refuses help. Tucker is like super loyal and just wants to make things easier for her and care for her. And for her, that's really, really hard to accept that. So you have some like kind of the cinnamon roll type hero who just wants to help, and a heroine who at times is like frustrating because we know that Tucker has really good intentions, but she really struggles to see that, if that makes sense. So at times she gets a little frustrating, but still really good. I love the whole series.
Okay. So the next book I have is by Devaney Perry. This is Fallen Jester. This is the 5th book in her Clifton Forge series. I don't think you need to read any of the books before to understand what's going on here. So this follows an MC that has been disbanded. The MC is no more. Now the guys are all still together, still hanging out in Clifton Forge. They run a repair shop and work on vehicles and things together, but they're not a part of the MC anymore. And so that's where we see Leo. He is trying to figure out what his life is going to be without this MC. He's a very talented artist, and he's got some damage though that's been done by the way he was raised, and he's just kind of floating out there. And then we also see Cassandra, and Cassandra she's lived in Clifton Forge her whole life, but she has gone off to school, and now she is in graduate school, and she has a plan. Like, it is laid out for her. She is 100% type A, and nothing is going to deter her from her plans except for a one-night stand with Leo. And then she has this one night stand. She's always had a crush on him. She comes home one weekend with a friend, ends up sleeping with Leo. Then she finds out that she's pregnant. And so she goes and tells Leo, but Leo freaks out. And there's some other stuff going on with some rival MC that's still harassing them and still doing things to them. So to keep her safe, he tells her, go back to school, because she was going to quit school, or at least go back after the baby was born, but she decides to continue on. And so there is a lot of hurt here. There's a lot of animosity. You have this father of this baby who is just a bit of a mess and doesn't know how to be a dad, and he's just scared. He's just scared. He just needs a hug. But I loved it. So
Maybe that should be a video. Heroes that just need a hug.
Oh, I can think of several off the top of my head. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay.
Don't get mad, Jessica, because I know this is your trope and it's not mine. So I'm sorry.
Okay.
So my next book is just a little bit different. So she finds out she's pregnant, but the dad has passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And so our hero is his brother.
Why would that make me mad? That intrigues me.
Because it's different.
I have different ones. My next one's going to be really, really different.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I didn't know how, like, particular you wanted to be with this video.
There just needs to be a pregnancy that nobody expected that we all got to deal with, and that's the book.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so go.
So this is probably even more. This is probably like the ultimate one for this trope then.
Could be. Could be. I don't know.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay.
So this is called Insta Family by Linda Cage. And Lucy sleeps with Duke out of guilt. He basically guilts her into it because he is dying and he's basically like, grant me this last wish. And she does. And they use protection and everything. And she is floored when she finds out that she's pregnant. Duke has already passed away when she finds this out. So she goes back to the house because Duke and his brother live together like as roommates. And so she goes back to the house and tells Vaughn. Vaughn has not handled it well that his brother has died. Their parents are already passed away as well. And so Duke was like his only sole purpose, like basically because their parents passed away when Duke was still in school and he was like the became his brother's guardian. So this has been devastating and like definitely check triggers. So she shows up to the house and tells Vaughn. Vaughn doesn't like, he's struggling, so he doesn't know what to think about this. And this is, I'll be 100% honest, and I hope this isn't a spoiler, but the book really picks up when Lucy has the baby, and Vaughn then steps more into the picture because he realizes this is his only living family member at this point. And it is so good. Like, I know I said I don't really like this trope, but oh, it is so good to watch just how much Vaughn's character evolves with Lucy. I really liked it a lot.
Yeah, I wrote it down. I've heard you talk about it like once before, but I'm like, I really need to read that.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. Okay, so my last rec is definitely a little outside of the normal wheelhouse here. And that is Angies Gladiator by Ruby Dixon. I'm waiting for Mandy to laugh. I'm waiting for it. So basically, so this is about Angie and Vortis. So they were back with the Ice Planet Barbarians. This is a part of the spinoff. This is her Ice Home spinoff. But as you can see on the cover, Angie has been abducted and she's been in a stasis pod for however long. She doesn't even know how long when she wakes up because they crashed there's a crash. Nope, there isn't even a crash. She wakes up on the Ice Planet in a stasis pod. When they wake her up, she's pregnant. And she's not just a little bit pregnant, she's a lot of it pregnant. And she doesn't know who's her dad, where'd this baby come from? She wasn't pregnant when she went to sleep on Earth, but she wakes up on this planet and she's about ready to pop. And she doesn't know what the baby is, who's the father, how to get there, was she raped, was it implanted, was it, there's all these things. And then you have Vortis, who is the guy who is just obsessed with her, and he is a gladiator. He's a clone. We learn about clones in this book, but I love their story. I love seeing the idea of waking up pregnant and like, can you love that baby? You don't even know what it is, and she's scared to death to give birth. It's just like, on a nice planet, we all would be, love this book. I love their story. I take it you didn't write that one down.
I did not.
Okay, what's your last book?
So my next book I also used as Heroine on the Run, so it is a different, the guy who steps up during the pregnancy is not actually,
I know what it is. I know what it is. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so good though.
It is. It's a great book.
It's so good. If you like Heroine on the Run, it's fantastic. And if you like Surprise Baby, this is going to be fantastic as well. So this is River Wild by Samantha Towle. This is Carrie. Carrie finds out she is pregnant and she is in a very abusive relationship. She's tried to leave before, but her husband is a police officer. And so when she's tried to turn to the police, they have her husband's back instead. So she realizes when she finds out she's pregnant that she has to leave now. She cannot stay with him because if he finds out, then she'll never be able to get away from him. So she leaves. Once he goes to work, she has a solid plan. She goes somewhere where she feels really confident he's not going to look for her. She's able to take some money with her. And so she just starts over in this little town. And next door to her is River. River is like grumpy sunshine trope. They would probably make River like he makes grumpy people look really happy. Like he's not nice at the beginning of the book and you're like, how's this going to turn around? I don't know. But they're neighbors and eventually things do start to turn around. It is not an easy road for the two of them. But once he finds out she's pregnant, he really starts to kind of have a different side to himself. And he starts to become a little more protective of her. And the bond that they form is just so incredibly good. And then this is a dark romance because we do have heroine on the run. So, of course, it's not going to be as easy as Carrie just left her husband and she gets to start over and everything's wonderful. And River also has a pretty dark past that definitely impacts their story. I actually, when I first started this book, at the very beginning, I was like, nope, nope, I don't want to read this because the trauma he's gone through is just too much for me a little bit. If like skim that if you need to. You need to kind of know what happened to him, but you could skim it if you really need to because the rest of the story is so good. So good. Loved it.
I loved it too when I read it. Yep. All right. Okay, guys. So that is what we have for you for Surprise Baby.
Surprise!
Surprise! It's a baby. That's how I got all my kids. No, that's not. No, my first two.
All right. Thank you for oversharing.
You should know.
All right. In the comments below, let us know again, like what you think about this trope and what are some of your favorite reads in this trope if you enjoy it. Make sure you check back on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for new videos from us. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can win some free books.
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video.